Hey, welcome to The Fool's Journey, episode 2. My name is Michael Zinn, and I want to introduce you to the man, Mr. Bryan Lahr.
Hey, how are you doing? We made it. We made it through a whole episode last week. Nothing got destroyed. There were no fires.
Everything was good. I was super excited to get this show on the road, so to speak, and also literally get it moving and start doing it. And I was able to bless my deck and pull my first card. For those of you who are just joining us and haven't been here before, The Fool's Journey, it's a show about Bryan Lahr's Wyzard of Odd Tarot deck and his Deus Angelus Oracle deck, and his artwork and his mystical beingness.
Well, and it's also about like sharing, like opening the doors to you guys to be able to like use these things to get as much joy and
absolutely
insight as I've had. You know, and
absolutely.
that was the thing I was really excited about. Man, you got your deck now. Now we get to learn it. So.
Oh, and I'm so grateful to not only have become friends with you and have my Wyzard of Odd deck, but to actually be learning how to use it from the inside out, so to speak.
Okay, I have to ask you, did you pull cards this week?
I did pull cards. I only did it once because I was so busy, but hold on, let me get my pad, because it made me smile for sure. On the 24th, 10/16, I pulled the Prince of the Chariot of Fire, the Prince of Wands.
There you go.
And I read what it meant. And it was so accurate. It was like uncanny. I was like, there you go. I'm like,
you know, the more you use them, it doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Like there are some cards, you know, but the more you use them, the more, like me and the angel cards, the longer I use them, the more surprising they get to me. You know, it's kind of funny. It's a cool tool to have.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got Janet out there saying, hello, guys. What's up, Janet?
Hey, Janet.
We've got Jill saying she got her decks.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was quick. Last I spoke to Jill, they were on their way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she got them in time for tonight's episode. That's great.
Well, that's a little bit of magic right there, because she shouldn't have gotten those yet.
Awesome. And then we've got Nancy. Hi, cuz, joining in tonight. And we've got Neil here. What's up, Neil? Old friend of mine.
Hey.
So it's awesome to have some of the gang here and ready to go. And
yeah, it really is.
Tonight, I think, oh, you know what? I didn't upload it. Let me upload it real quick. I believe we were going to be talking about well, I do believe that we're talking about
Magus, but that's only one of three.
Oh, one of three. Okay,
yeah,
hold on.
There are two more that look like this.
Okay, well, I know one of them was going to be this one.
That's the Fool.
Yeah. And what's the third one? I didn't do the third one yet.
There's this one. That's the third one. That's the well, there are three Magus cards specifically. These aren't different cards. There are three versions of the Magus card. Like the first card you have up there right now is the Magus of the body. This is the Magus of the mind. And this is the Magus of the spirit. And they all relate to really specific different things.
Okay. So the Magus of the body, mind, and spirit. I'm taking better notes this week than I did last week, so I actually learned something.
Okay, you know, interestingly enough, this is the Magus of the body, and when my teacher was,
I'm sorry.
That's all right. When my teacher was trying to goad me into learning. The Magus was the first card I decided I was going to try to do. And this card, when I completed the deck and I was trying to like make it real in the real world and not just be a thing in the computer. So I went to Kinko's and I made a Xerox version of the deck and made my own little personal like comp copy of it. And I shuffled it up and did a pull. And that was the very first card I pulled. Okay, cool. So jump forward about 6 months later, no, not about 4 months later, and I get the first version, 50 decks, you know, I'm like over the top excited. I pull the first deck out, I look at the first card, and I pull the first card, and it's that Magus card, that same Magus card.
Wow.
Okay, really cool. What's the chances of that? So over the course of 10 years, I've, let's see, the 10th anniversary is the 6th printing of it. And every time I get a new printing of it, I pull a new card. And the purpose of pulling that card is to see how you're going to interact with this deck, you know, for the time that you're using it, like we did with yours last week. Mm-hmm. And every single one of those, including the 10th anniversary, was the Magus of the body.
Wow. That
same card, you know, so all right.
That's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, my brother. Here we go. Yeah. You know, these cards don't immediately. Should I put that down on the little lit thing?
We could do that. We could do that. I'll bring up the table.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Very nice.
Yeah. Any possibility of zooming in?
I could actually do this.
No. Well, maybe no. Okay.
hold on. Yeah, there we go.
So before we move on to the meanings of the Magus cards, you know, one of the things I do with you know, my students when I have regular classes is at the beginning of each class we review what they learned last week, just so that gets cemented. And that by the time that we get through the whole deck and we've reviewed, you've memorized the whole thing. Because having the manual for the deck is all good, but it doesn't really get juicy and good and really amazing until you've memorized all those cards, because those meanings aren't really like, that's not the end destination meanings. Right. Those are just kind of the meanings that get you in the door so that then they could start talking to you. Yeah, did you know that? Yeah, but that's going to happen. You know, and that doesn't really happen until you've like, okay, you start seeing those cards and it's like instantaneous connection to it. You know what it means. And it like opens the door and like lets you into this whole landscape. That's kind of crazy. I love that. It's one of my very favorite things about that. Right. So just, do you remember anything about the Fool from last week, my brother? Like what he's about? What's the Fool about?
Yeah, the Fool is the beginning of the journey. The Fool is, you know, not knowing.
Okay, so if you pulled the Fool and we're doing a reading with the Fool as a card, and you're doing a reading about money and a job, would you say that would be a good card or a bad card?
I would say it would be not a good card. It would be a bad card.
Excellent call. Yeah. If you were doing something about a new educational adventure, how about that?
No.
Yeah, no, that would be excellent, actually. Because the reason I say that the money thing would not be good is because the Fool is airy. The Fool is about like learning and venturing off into the unknown. And a lot of readers over the course of years have kind of attributed that to being like flippant, you know, and not really aware and naive, and
foolish.
So
you would think foolish.
So there's a lack of focus that you would need to attack money, you know. But the opposite is true when you're starting off on a new road of learning. You kind of know what you want to learn, but you'd have really no idea what that journey is going to be about.
Right. You're attacking wonder, really.
Yeah, and you're getting information and filling yourself up rather than acquiring material stuff.
Right. Interesting.
All right. All right.
Hold on a second. I like the prior week's review process. It builds knowledge. Yes. Thank you for doing that, Brian.
Absolutely.
And a fool is soon parted from his money.
A fool never gets his money usually. Yes, right, for sure. Well, for sure.
It's a good place for me to start. And now I know I can see the difference in the representation of, when it's a kind of more static real thing, it's not a good idea. But when it's like a more like journey or like a wonderment, it's a good thing.
Exactly. So right. I would encourage you to develop for yourself, 2 or 3 words that represent that card for you.
Okay.
And on the right, it's on the left side of the card at the top are some keywords that I put there already. You're welcome. Those are done with my skew to it.
That's this card, right? That's the
Magus card. Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So up there at the top left on the left side of the card is a row of words. Those are keywords, and use those or dive into some other stuff. I want for us to be a really great resource for people to discover stuff. And I think part of that, there are so many really great resources out there that I'd like to share a couple that I have found infinitely valuable. And one of them is a website by a guy named Paul Barlow out of the UK, and it's called supertarot.uk. And
hold on, let me make a banner here real quick for it. Super Tarot.
Yeah, can you bring that up by any chance? Is there any possibility you could bring that up?
Yep, I can. Supertarot.uk. I was just making a banner right there, and let me bring it up here as well.
It's just a really, really terrific site and super in depth with a lot of knowledge. One of the things I like the most about it is that he's taken the cards and he's done his own interpretations of them. And he's using the Thoth deck, Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck to go by.
It's not super. It's
what is it?
Super Tarot. It's not supertarot.uk. It's it looks like it's. Hold on, I'm trying to edit it. Supertarot.co.uk.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. I just didn't want people to go to the wrong place.
Yeah, there you go. So for each of the cards, he's got like 6 different definitions by 6 different famous readers. Some of the original guys, early guys that people have been reading for hundreds of years, and the Rider-Waite deck, the Crowley deck. There's like all these different explanations about this one card, and you kind of come to see how you develop over the course of reading your own perspective about that. And having those different perspectives was really great.
Oh wow, yeah, look at this. It looks pretty
like every card, and their videos. I'll have to warn you, the videos, trying to listen to him, kind of difficult for me. Right, go in, but the reading stuff, the stuff he's written and got written out is amazing. And in addition to the meanings of the cards, he did some amazing tutorials on different layouts, like card counting, card pairing, opening the key, and some really super complex readings that I enjoyed really learning. So amazing, really great resource all in one place. Highly encourage you to go and scope it out.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks really good. Good job there, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I've used that many years.
Yeah, that's great.
And as I learn and go back and look again, it's like really cool. And he's got a way of using it to do different magic stuff, make things happen. Very cool.
Cool.
All right.
That's awesome. Imagine what we could do with a sponsorship. I'll make him an animated promo and everything.
That would be really amazing.
If he's out there listening.
Yeah. Well, that's London time, so probably not.
If he's watching the replay, it's all good. It's all good.
Exactly.
Manifesting my dreams, my friend.
Okay, so the fool is taken off on his journey. He's looking around, and the first person he runs into is the Magus. And the Magus invites him in, says, "Come in, let me show you what's going on." And then the fool is just blown away, right? And he's seeing things that are just beyond his comprehension. And the Magus is pulling it all out, man, doing effects, and throwing light here and there, and he's levitating things, and he's doing all kinds of really crazy stuff. And he's looking at the fool, and he's like going inside of him and reading his entire life to him, and these skills that are like the fool had no idea were even possible, but like
right.
here it's happening in front of him.
Right.
And so each of these, this is the fool, the Magus of the body, and the Magus of the body really represents projective scenarios and using energy to manifest things in the real world. And it's kind of hard to see a little bit on this side of it, but in the center is this sort of really bright white thing that's kind of going out in 4 different directions. What the Magus gives the fool, that kind of X thing right below the body. And that represents the 4 different elements of energy: air, fire, water, and earth.
Cool.
And the fool receives his abilities and wakes up his abilities on his elemental for his elemental powers, and from there starts doing projective scenarios, right, and telekinetic things, and acquiring those skills himself. Okay, so now that the fool has gotten his earthly skills, he moves next to the Magus of the mind. Now, the card, the Magus, is ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury's Thoth. Mercury's like the god of wisdom in every single cosmology that there is, and he is all about processes and methodologies and like music. and a curious thing about Mercury, the planet Mercury, while it represents music, right? The planet Mercury has an orbit of 88 days, which is the number of keys on the piano. I've marveled at that more times than I could possibly tell you.
That's amazing,
yeah. So anything having to do with ritual, anything having to do with systems, with mathematics, with science, astronomy, astrology, all of the so many of the metaphysical arts require kind of knowledge about things, and there's histories to things that go back centuries and centuries, and that's the place that you can get that, as well as your skills about being able to access the Akashic record. And the Akashic record is, have you ever heard of a website on the internet that has every single website that's ever been made, every page? And
the Internet Archive, Wayback Machine, the Wayback Machine. Yeah.
Right. Well, this is like an astral Wayback Machine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Everything that's ever happened is recorded there. And if you know how to access that, you can see that for yourself, which is
that's awesome. That's
amazing beyond belief.
Yeah. Very cool. So, okay.
Questions?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm imagining you and I need to communicate a little bit better as far as like, so I prepare these cards. but I thought we were going to be talking about the Fool card.
Well, that's what we talked about last week, my brother.
That's what we talked about last week. Okay, so
I mean, we can talk about that again if you'd like, but we were going to talk about the Magus this week.
No, but I guess just I love having it visually here to talk about and bring up so big.
Well, honestly, I don't need to see my face. You can put it up right over the top of me.
Well, I have to set them up right now. It's just an overlay, so it's set up in the middle, and the other one I set up on the right side just to kind of see what that would look like. So that's like over someone's face, but I could always do this. You know what I mean? I could.
There you go. Worked for me.
But I don't have the other. I don't have the
other versions. Okay.
Versions of the Magus set up to bring up big, which I would love to do as you're talking about them. You know.
Okay. Well, would you like me to continue on?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I would like you to continue on.
Okay. So, wow. All right. So the Magus of the mind got a little derailed there, bro.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Okay, so we'll come back and we'll review the Magus cards again next week. Okay. I'll go ahead and give you a brief kind of overlay of the of what the Magus of the spirit means. Okay. We live in a physical manifested world with physical stuff, but that stuff is only stuff because that's what our senses can perceive. What that really is a lot of really minuscule particles held together with electromagnetic energy, and it's all ultimately energy. Yeah.
So you're talking about, and I'm just relating this to the live stream of consciousness. You're talking about the law of vibration. Everything is vibration. Right?
That's exactly. Well, it's not just vibration; it's pure energy, and that energy is formed into all the infinite myriad forms. But there really is no solid anything. There is no,
right.
There is no, like, it's only solid in this particular frequency, right?
Right.
Okay, so our bodies are more than half just pure energy. Our light body, our aura, that people call it auras, that really is more of us than our actual physical body. And our physical body just contains that energy. And that's what leaves when you die and your physical body dies. It goes on to something else. So without awareness of that, without awareness of the aura and how that works, half of or more of your actual persona or your being, you're not really paying any attention to at all. You're not cleaning it. You clean your body every day. You go and take a shower. You need to clean your aura as well. You go out in the world. Our auras aren't just right here next to us. Our auras go out and out and out. So literally, we are totally connected. Everybody is one. That kind of blew me away when I got that concept. It's like the fact that all of that goes out, and ultimately we are all connected in a crazy way.
Right.
And that explains crowd consciousness, a whole lot of other things too.
Yeah.
So one of the aspects of living in the energy world is understanding that we live in many different layers of vibration, and your aura, like we live in a kind of a 6-layer chunk of it right now in this perception. Beyond that is another us that's having another life right now alongside of us. In another chunk of bands for him, and that being is way more evolved, way more elevated, like vibrating at such a high rate of speed that to contact him, you have to like boost up your own frequency and make your light so bright that you like get that attention of that being, and that's what. But that connection is your connection to source.
Right.
you know, and that's where you are completely connected to knowledge and information and elevating yourself to the next level.
Right.
And that's what the Magus of the Spirit is all about.
Wow.
And those processes to get to that, which are complex and really intense, I tried 3 times. Yeah, we'll go into that later.
So I want to kind of bring this to like layman's terms almost. What you're talking about, what it makes me think of when you're talking about what you're describing is how I felt when I was younger, playing music, doing anything that I love to do. Now that I'm older and I'm looking back, I realize in those moments I was connecting to source. I was completely free in the moment. I was letting go of everything that was not a part of me and my moment. I was just completely involved in me and my moment. And again, that was when I felt connected most to source. So I feel like that's kind of what you're describing there.
It is.
A part of it.
Have you ever surfed?
I have not surfed, but
when you're on a wave and you're in a moment and you're like there, have you ever shredded on guitar?
Yeah.
Okay. You know that moment where you shred and you're playing so fast that if you thought about your fingers for even a fraction of a second, it wouldn't happen. You played so long and your technique you don't need to practice that anymore. And all you are is totally immersed in the music.
That's right.
That's nirvana to me, man. And that's art on every level. In any discipline where you achieve that level of that's when the art really starts to happen.
Jill says windsurfing. Yes. And Jill is actually the #1 female windsurfer on Long Island.
No.
Yeah, and that's amazing. So she knows exactly what it's like to connect to source.
That feeling.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about Jill is she's starting to realize how it all is connected, like what that feeling even means and how it connects her to source, which is really cool.
I love making metaphors for intangible, energetic stuff. So my whole world now, like creativity, I'm going out to figure out a photograph or something I want to make. And in my mind, I'm paddling out on the electric ocean, man. I'm just sitting out there bobbing, waiting for the next set to come in. Bam, there it is. And that's why I work. Like when I really hit a vein and I'm like, man, I can't make a mistake. I won't go to sleep until I ride that whole wave out, because you never get back. It's just like in the ocean. You never get back. You never get the same wave back.
You're totally making me feel like Keanu Reeves right now. Like you're a variant of Keanu Reeves. Jill is saying she is one with all when she's dialed in. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Isn't that bliss, Jill? Don't you just absolutely love that feeling? It's like it's like there isn't any past or future. It's just right now. That's one of the purest forms of that to me, man.
Perfect.
Wind's in your face and the spray, and it's like, yeah. Oh, amazing, awesome. amazing.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. All right. So we got the Magus of Spirit, we got the Magus of Mind, and we talked about the Magus of Body first. Awesome. So we were able to talk about them.
The reason I created 3 of them is that my favorite. I read with the Thoth deck for 25 years, and in the Thoth deck, it was the paintings were done by an incredible woman named Frida Harris. Amazing artwork, and that was really the thing that drew me to it. And as I got into learning it, I'm looking and there are 3 Magus cards, and I'm going, well, what's the deal with this? How come what's going on? And I could never find any reason. And it turns out that he just liked all 3 of the paintings a lot, so he included them all so you could pick your own Magus and just use one. But being the bonehead that I am, I had always just, wow, this really makes sense. So I started using them like that many years ago. So it just made sense when my deck started coming around that would be a
That's great.
Significant detail on it.
That's awesome. I can't wait till we start like pulling cards for people on the show and like.
Well, we're going to pull some cards right now.
Awesome.
We did a single card poll last week. And that's really. I would encourage you, dude. I mean, how long does it take to pull a single card? Not very long.
You're right. You're right. My bad. And this is part of why I'm here doing this and learning and committing to it. I think it's why I do the live stream of consciousness, to give me a purpose and something to commit to. So my bad. I don't.
No worries. No worries.
I feel like it's not something to apologize for. But look, I'll do better by next week. Next week, I got another 7 chances to.
Always room to improve, man. Yeah. And I got to tell you, my teacher just doesn't hold back. Bonehead, good God, son, what are you doing? I thought we talked about that. What the hell happened?
I appreciate you being more gentle with me.
Well, the truth of the matter is I've always had to have like really just slave master, taskmaster people because I'm just so stubborn and control oriented. Now that's the only people that get through to me. And people that are so good at what they do that it's really easy to go, I'm not worthy. I know nothing. Teach me.
Well, that's funny. All right. Cuz do me. Well, I don't think we're ready to read people yet, but Jill is shuffling right now, so she's already blessed and cleaned her deck. She's shuffling along with us. So
yeah, I just
exciting.
I just did a shuffle too. So this week we're gonna do a 3-card pull. Hey Jill, before we do this, did you pull? Since you just got your cards today, you might not have had a chance to do this. Did you pull your single card for how it's?
You need to establish your relationship with your deck.
Yeah, how are you going to interact with this deck?
I did learn something, right?
Very good, Mister.
So let's let Jill do that.
And we're going to do a 3-card pull, and I just did a little pull about the reading and the show, actually.
Okay, so is that on the table right now, or
it is on the table now.
All right, let's bring up the table. Let's bring up the table big. Yes, there we go. Ooh, I like this. Look at this. This is kind of cool. Jill is asking, okay, pull 1. Yeah, so Jill, what I did, and if I remember correctly, is you're gonna cut the deck somewhere, and you're gonna look at this card, the top,
the undercut. I call that undercut.
The undercut, but the card that is, and you're going to look at that, and that's going to have some meaning to it, right? What's the meaning for that one?
That's usually just kind of the tone of how the reading's going to go.
Okay, and then you take the cut, which is the overcut, and that becomes your card.
Jill, before you pull it, just make sure you hold that deck and you flow some energy into those cards with the intent for it to be to reveal how you're going to interact, you and this deck together. And once you feel like and use your right hand if you're right-handed, and pour that juice with that intent in there until you feel like it's full, and then cut it.
So before I pull my cards, I'm going to let Jill pull her cards. But so for a 3-card pull, how am I pulling the cards? Am I just kind of shuffling through and you do that
same? Well, you can do it any way you want to do it. My method for that is to shuffle with that Norma Cowrie shuffle that I showed you last week, where you're pulling the top and the bottom card, you're making that happen. And then once you've really got them randomized, I just do a cut like we did. I take a look at the undercut and then pull the next top 3 cards. But you can, if you want to do it more randomly than that. Like, I have a really good friend that's a reader, and she spreads them out across the table so that they're all fanned out, all the cards, and then has the person, pull whatever number of cards.
Whatever feels right. So yeah. she's got a Five of Swords, or I guess it's the Knight of Swords, and a Two of Wands is her undercut.
Wait a minute. Okay. What is the Five of Swords?
Yeah, she said the Knight of Swords.
Knight of Swords.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is going to be about a lot of mental activity with this. Do you have good study habits, Joe? If part of this is being able to really focus on new information with kind of some clarity, but also really intense. And in my deck, the knights are really the kings. So that's somebody that's very intense about what they do. He's got the plan, not super emotional, like the King of Cups, really super emotional. That's where creativity comes from. This is, the swords are the element of air, and the element of air is about the mental activities, just like we were talking about Mercury earlier. It's about planning and strategic things and what people are thinking about the situation. And awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think you'll really super enjoy this process and dig into the night and find out, for yourself. Let that start talking to you, and let that be your first indication. Do you meditate, Jill, by any chance? If you do not, we're going to talk about some meditation techniques in the coming weeks as well. Always really good to kind of come to a neutral space before you start to dig in and really get your mind in tune. Actually, the back of the cards are designed to take you down to a space. It's like you can use the ring, do a breathing exercise. You use the purple, go down to and by the time you get to the center of it, I'm there every time. So that's kind of a nice tool that you have right there when you're getting ready to do your readings.
She says she meditates daily, and just knowing Jill, she's in a place where she is receiving a lot of knowledge and information, which is why she was like, she saw this and she's like, I got to get one of these decks, and I got to play along and I got to learn, so she's definitely accurate.
Do a nice deep meditation and just ask the night to communicate to you, and the best way for you to use the cards and for you to get the most out of the information that you'll get.
Awesome.
Okay, let's talk about the reading. Okay, right. Go ahead, Michael. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm also pulling 3 cards, but let's talk about what you pulled, and then we can talk about what I pulled.
Okay.
Or however you want to do it.
There are many ways, there are as many ways to set this up as there are different readers. I do a 3-card pull 2 ways. First is where you kind of look at it as immediate past, present tense, and immediate future. And that was the way I first learned to do that 3-card pull, and that works really, really great. Okay. You can also take that where you're looking at all 3 cards, but kind of blending them together. Like you look at the elemental qualities of them. Like if you've got 3 cards and you've got a fire card and a water card, those cards are they fight each other. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so, that's going to affect how that whole blend of that goes together. We'll talk more about that as we do that, and you get more of a feel for the cards. Okay. But right now it's a immediate past, present tense, and immediate future. And okay. I usually read from left to right. That really doesn't matter either. Whatever you just pick away and stick with it. So it's just like when you get a good logo, You keep using the same logo so that people get used to, and that's what you're teaching. That's how you're teaching yourself.
So what feels comfortable? Yeah, what feels comfortable?
Well, comfortable, but also what you wind up writing as a communication to your higher self. You're teaching your higher self and you a language with the cards. And if you're always using the language should always mean the same thing. So at the beginning, once you decide what feels good to you, stick with that. You can vary that later, but while you're getting your grooves written, stick with that. Okay.
That makes sense. That's great.
Okay. So the very first card would be the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is an air card again. So that's about things that are being looked at. And that's the immediate past. And the thing about the Six of Swords is it's a cool card, but it's a card about going after new forms of sustenance, finding different ways of providing for yourself. That the old ways have run out of their efficiency. They've gone obsolete in many ways, and the paradigm of energy has changed that make those not really work anymore. So it's off to go find a brand new source of food, sustenance, entertainment, everything that you need. And it's that quest to go off and look for that. In the Rider-Waite deck, it's somebody that's sitting in a canoe that another guy is poling across a big lake. And it's like, going from one side of the lake to another to look for a new place to thrive. So that's the immediate past. And it's the realization that whatever you've been doing isn't really effective anymore. And even if it has worked in the past, you need to look for something new to move to. Present tense, the Ace of Wands. And that's a fabulous card. The aces all represent the absolute archetype of whatever element they are. In this case, it's fire. So it is the blast of brand new energy to find something or to get something new off the ground. And it's that desire, it's that like, woo, and that burst of fresh energy that gives you the fuel to begin something new. So it was a Six of Swords that required you to look for something. Here's the energy to get it. And the immediate future is the Magus of the mind. So that would imply that the Magus is there helping get those things planned, finding out the best path of least resistance to accomplish the goals at hand, and to find the absolutely most efficient and win-win scenario for everyone at hand.
Awesome.
Yeah. So just with 3 cards, you get a pretty good view of what's going on, And I start every day doing a pull, first thing in the morning.
Right.
Get the coffee, hit the card.
So explain to me more about what the tone is, because this is what I got as my undercut.
Okay, that's a Hierophant.
And this is a beautiful card that looks like an elephant. And I just want to show everybody how beautiful this card is.
I see that as an old man. Well, the Hierophant is about classical foundations and structures, like the Catholic Church, like government structures, like things that have formalized ways of doing things, and that are usually not about single people, but about large structures of scenarios, companies.
So I got you, like the government and stuff like that. So the way this would apply to you is that that's what you're going after doing to affect groups of people. Gotcha.
And so that is kind of like using the structures that exist to further that mindset.
Okay. So I'm gonna go left to right, and you're gonna help me with my reading of myself. And it is the Emperor of the Son of the Morning.
Yes.
So
Okay. Go ahead and pull all three cards.
okay, all right. So hold on. I'm gonna just let me do this. Ba boom. And then this is gonna be next.
Wow. The Sun.
And then this is going to be the last one.
Wow. Okay. The Eon, which represents your Agalites and your higher self, which is after we just talked about that. Okay. All right. So your very first card is the Emperor.
Right.
And that relates to the guy that's in charge, the guy that has power to say yes, the guy that controls, being able to move large populations, to be able to move companies, to be able to command armies. It's the person large and in charge, and the person that sets the rules that the Hierophant follows. It's interesting that the Hierophant comes right after the Emperor. So it's kind of interesting that those two cards go together, because both of those represent classical structures of scenarios that exist in society already.
Right.
Okay, and then your second card was that represents a present, and that is the Sun, and that card represents absolute success in every direction. And because the sun's rays are pervasive and go out in every single direction, that's what that represents. So if there's some kind of a question as to whether something is going to make it or not, a meeting's going to go good, whatever's going to happen, that is a magnificent card for, yeah, man, it's going to just blast.
I love it. I love it.
Going to go great. And what was the last one? What was the last one? Oh, yeah, the Eon. Okay. Okay, for me, and I'm kind of skewed about this because the deck, the top deck that I learned from kind of skews towards this too. And that represents your holy guardian angel. That represents the being that we talked about that's on the upper bands, that connects with you, and that you're teaching the language of this between you and him to be able to speak, which is really super amazing and kind of really bizarre that you like. All of those cards are sort of weird considering the context of what we've just been talking about.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Great. So in the Rider-Waite deck, that card is called Temperance. And it's this angel blowing a trumpet over a cemetery, and out of the graves, the souls are rising up and going to heaven. And what that represents, and is a really awesome and crucial part of this card, is that it's the second to last card in the deck. So it's kind of like it's kind of like at the end of this journey where like you've acquired all of these things, and now like you've connected this higher part of yourself, and the next card is universe, and you've now got all the marbles, and you're ready to go out and take your place in,
that's awesome. And that's this card. That's
that card. But what those souls leaving the ground represent is all the past crap from your life. Like what just happened with me, with having kind of a metaphorical death. It's like everything that went beforehand, all the skeletons, all the bodies laying in the, like, man, it just all got resolved. And
that's really interesting, because I have actually, so I have this sculpture out in front of my house that I made in college, and the sculpture is I'll get a picture of it and I'll bring it up next weekend or next week. The sculpture is an abstract figure, right? And he's like struggling. He's like this, right? And coming out of the figure are all these coils, because I was learning how to make coils in ceramics, and it's like these coils that all attach to each other in a random kind of configuration, and it's bigger than the figure, and it kind of overshadows the figure. And in my head, I mean, and I was in college when I did this. In my head, that represented, it was actually kind of a self-portrait. It represented me and all of the choices that I have made in my life, and how I was like weighed down, not necessarily weighed down, but how I was attached. They were all a part of me. All of the choices that I had ever made were a part of me, and kind of became something that I had to carry around.
Well, and the things that go unaddressed, the traumas that just get stuffed, the things that like just get pushed away because you don't want to deal with it.
Right.
There's tons of those things over the course of a lifetime,
Right.
and those all stay buried. And if they do, they just consume you.
Wow. And you know what? I got to say, and I don't even want to say this out loud because I know you're going to encourage it, but I was thinking about taking this thing and smashing it in representation of cutting all of those coils.
That's a powerful thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you imbue it with that meaning and that sacred aspect to it, so if you pour all of that intent into that and you fill that thing up with it, I mean, that's a pretty powerful ritual.
I'm imagining that would be very powerful. So Jill is sharing her reading with us, so maybe you can help us with this. She got a 6 of Swords and a Universe, 2 second and third.
So 6 of Swords, Universe, and what's the third card?
6 of Swords. What are you looking at there, Jill? Let me know if you want to come on. I'll send you a link, and you can
yeah, do that, please. That'd be great.
So so I got 6 of Swords and Universe, 2 second and third. Maybe you didn't.
I think there's a third card that didn't get. Yeah.
She's also saying, as far as my sculpture, I think she was saying that was ego, and that I am ready to let go and go higher. So here it says, Knights, Wands first, and others same as yours. I'm so not sure what you're saying.
I'm not clear about that either. I need coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. So Bryan is getting some coffee. I don't know what you guys are thinking out there. I've got Jill interacting with us, but nobody else is saying anything. But that's all good. You guys are bringing your energy here, and we appreciate so much everybody being here. This is so much fun. Jill, I'm going to send you a link, and you should come on and show us your cards. In the meantime, we're going to move forward. Hold on. Give me 1 second, Bryan. I'm going to send this to Jill now.
Yeah, no problem. So we're going to talk about the kill juice. We're going to talk about, I have really been lucky enough to acquire some real gems over the course of years. Some things that do energy work and really require very little from you, and some health things that some foods and things that you can eat that really keep you going and jack you up instead of eating you and killing you and growing things inside you that are going to eat you. So anyway, a couple months ago, I got the flu, and I had been talking to my teacher about this thing that they were using. He was recommending for COVID. And it is super simple to make. And basically, you're taking a red grapefruit, 2 limes. You fill up a boiling pot, with water. Throw the whole fruit in. Don't peel it, nothing. Throw the whole fruit in. And you go ahead. What?
I boil this grapefruit whole.
Well, you boil the grapefruit and the limes.
And the limes. Okay.
And you boil, and you know, cover it up, you know, good 3 or 4 inches over the top of it, because you're going to boil it for a while. You want it to boil for an hour, hour and a half, until the fruit is completely mushy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it'll leak some of the juice into the water. Make sure you save the water. Okay. So once the fruit is finished boiling, take the fruit out, save the water. Let the fruit cool down, because it'll be hot as hell, and then cut it up, quarter it, put it in a blender, and make a smoothie out of it. And start to add the other water back into the mix until it's all blended up. Okay. Now the chemicals that have what you need are in the white pulp on the inside of the peel, which people normally take off because it's kind of bitter. It doesn't taste super good. Right. I don't really, you know, when it's bad, it usually means it's working. So, you know, you can put honey or something else into it to sweeten it up. I just take a cup of I call it kill sauce. This is a funny story. When my teacher first told me about it, I made up a big batch. I had like 1.5 gallons made up, right? So he didn't really specify how much to drink. So I'm drinking. I've gone through 2 or 3 glasses. I talked to him later in the day, and I said, "Hey man, I made this stuff, and you know, I've been drinking it." And he said, "Did you make an extra?" I said, "Yeah, I made a whole bunch." He goes, "Oh, good. Just keep drinking it." So I thought he meant keep drinking it. So over the course of a day, I drink like 3/4 of a gallon of it, right? Which sent my system into this crazy acid shock. Oh, man. It wasn't so good. But the next day, all the flu was gone. I felt amazing, like the supercharge of energy. And I now have incorporated that into my everyday stuff. Some side effects to this that the ladies out there will really super love. I noticed that like crow's feet around my eyes, and I had Grand Canyon crevices.
I remember, yeah, you were telling me about this. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, just like deep caverns in my forehead. Awesome. And hold on. It promotes collagen production in your skin. Also, it winds up killing a multiplicity of parasites in your bloodstream. And like some weird skin tags have gone away. Crazy shit. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Keep going with your story. I got to go get the door because I got a special guest here.
Yeah, no worries. So, you know, I wound up, I just want to make sure everybody knows. Make it up. Just do a cup, you know, cup a day. And I think that you'll find that stuff really is a great way to start the day. It's a super good energy rush. And, you know, the truth of the matter is they try to make pharmaceutical versions of all kinds of stuff. Like the chemicals in this are almost exactly the same as the chemicals in hydrochloroquine. I think that was the stuff that wound up having some effect on the COVID stuff. And, you know, it just doesn't, you know, when they make it out of a chemical compound, hey, dude! Oh boy, I'm so happy to see you, man. Awesome.
Ready? Everybody, Jesse Blaze is here visiting in New York. So,
oh man!
I told him we'd be finished at 10 and to come by, so he came by for a visit.
Hello, you continue.
Yeah, let's finish our thing.
You know, I was hoping you would participate with us, you know, and do readings and like, man, dude, I'm so glad to see you. I can't even believe you stuck your face in there. Awesome, thank you. That's fantastic, man.
Cool. So I don't know if you were finished. I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No, that was a great interruption. Yeah, I was done, man. That was it.
I've got the recipe now though. I'm excited for something new and healthy. I don't think that this is going to be this kind of a show, but I do want to honor the people who've come here. Avi Morgan is asking, how does my love interest currently feel about me, please? So again, I don't know. I don't think that that's what this kind of show is, but if you feel like you have an answer for that,
You know, I don't want to be an on-air tarot reader.
right.
You know, this is more a show about teaching you how to do it yourself than it is about like doing that. I would be really happy that if you want a reading, Avi, for to DM me later, and let's hook that up physically. Because part connecting to someone and really being in their energy and being able to read their energy signature is the way that you get in the doors to getting them some real information. Otherwise, it's just some random cards unless you can really connect to their energy.
Right.
And maybe we could experiment with that at some point, but
well, here's a good example, and before we can close out the show, because we did it again, we're already at 10 o'clock, but we did Jill, who is one of our first viewers and participants of the show, she did give us she gave us Knight of Wands, Six of Swords, and the universe. But she's also here visiting us. What's up, Jill?
Hey!
Hi.
Oh, so happy to see you. So happy to see you. Yes.
Welcome to the Fool's Journey. You're our first guest.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. These cards are beautiful. I love them.
Thank you so much. I am so amazed and astounded that you got them today. I was a bonehead. You DM'd me right after the show, and on Thursday, I'm looking through. I've got too many things going on. I've got to consolidate. And I saw that you oh, dude. I felt so bad that I had blown it off for a couple of days. That was totally unintentional.
No worries. I got them just in time. It was a nice little gift today. So
okay, well, awesome. All right, so if we're looking at your reading as past, present, future, the Knight of Wands.
It looked like the second and third cards were the same cards as Michael's. The Six and the Universe were the same cards.
No, the universe is the card. Michael's last card was the Eon.
Oh,
and
okay.
The universe is the card right after the Eon. It's the last card in the major arcana. Okay. So I would say that, the Knight of Wands as an immediate past is kind of looking at somebody that's analyzing the situations that's happening, just like that again, the Knight of Wands is really the king in other decks. So he's fiery, man, and he's got energy, and he's there to attack it and go after whatever thing he wants with gusto and unrelenting fire. He's the king of fire. Okay, so in the present tense is the Six of Swords, and I got that card actually, and that card is about finding new places to feed yourself, finding new sources of sustenance, and ways to make yourself survive, and find new nourishment for your soul, your body, your mind, in every way, shape, or form. And then the last card is the immediate future, and that's the universe. And that's the last card in the major arcana. And the whole gig about the Fool's Journey is that it's 22 cards, and each card successively goes in a row with a lesson that builds on the lesson before it. And so once you've gotten to the universe and you've gone through all the different lessons and you've gone through all the hard knocks and learned what's important and how to get through life, and you're at the universe, you're about to go jump off into your life with all the marbles. It's fully prepared, man. It's your own initiation. And that's the final, that's the diploma. at the end of the doctoral degree.
That's so accurate, Jill. You're such a quick like learner, and you know what I
Right?
mean? That whole reading
Like
is
crazy
really,
over here.
really accurate. That's awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
Jill,
thank
thank you
you.
so much for
Thanks for
joining
coming
us.
in, Jill. Thanks. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll have you on again, I'm sure. And
Thanks for being here from the beginning, man. It's like
Yeah.
charter member.
Awesome. That was very awesome. Very cool. Wow, man. I can't believe how fast the time goes. It's like this is great. We're just like
Time flies when you're having fun.
yeah, man, talking about the deck and making it happen, and it's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bryan. I really appreciate it. Let's talk. So for next week, I can bring up everything that we're going to talk about. I'll bring up a picture of this statue that I have sitting in front of my house, and maybe we'll take a poll whether I should smash it or not, or I don't know.
That'd be great. That'd
we'll
be great.
Figure it out.
By the way, anybody listening tonight that wants to DM me and send me a message, I'm happy to give you a significant discount on one or both of the decks. So if that's something you want to have happen, I'd like to make it easy for you to get them.
Bryan is very flexible. Be nice to him, and he'll be nice to you.
I just want to see people having them, man. Going,
yeah,
oh,
it's amazing. It's amazing. Your deck is amazing. I'm super psyched about this show. Thank you for letting me into your world and sharing your knowledge with me and us and the world. And I guess we'll be back next week.
Awesome, man. See you, everybody. Have a great one.
Awesome, guys. Have a good time. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.